McMahon, and then it's the Thunderbirds, Hodge, Sanders, Squire and Harvey Williams. So missing out is Nicole Richardson, and Sanders moves back from wing attack to centre. Harvey Williams at goal defence, she's the captain of course, and Liz Ellis at goalkeeper under Jill McIntosh. And for the Kiwis, Irene van Dijk, most capped player out there, having played 72 times for South Africa before moving to New Zealand. Belinda Colling, Harper, George and Nicol in the midcourt. They're fast, they're powerful, plenty of size at the back with Bernice Menny and Linda Wangenaar. Yvonne Willering is their coach, and she has brought this team on a treat in the last 12 months.
And New Zealand quick to assert themselves. They lead Australia 3-0. Southby gets Australia on the board. So it's 3-1 to New Zealand.
Menny. It was a notable feature of their play in the first test between these two countries in this series was that they coughed up very little ball. Ellis, a hand to it, but it'll be New Zealand possession.
Colling just a little tentative. That was a long-range shot, and she's not renowned for her shooting prowess. She's about 60 to 70%. The accuracy rests with Van Dijk and Lophagen. She's the playmaker.
I don't know whether she was feeling that left knee or just adjusting the support on it.
Oh, great pressure from Australia's defence early. They've forced both the handoff from Colling and now the miss from Van Dijk.
Harvey Williams spots an unmarked Southby. That's a huge ball from the Australian skipper. And now McMahon, a screen from Southby.
Well, you've got to love it. The Australian skipper saying, we can do this, we're confident. Winds the arm from just inside the transverse line.
Huge match for Alex Hodge, playing just her 10th international at wing attack. As Jill McIntosh decides you have to rework the midcourt, and picking one off is Linda Wangenaar. Irene van Dijk. Liz Ellis trying to deny Van Dijk as Jill McIntosh wired for sound. She's got her assistant coach Lisa Behag stationed elsewhere in the stadium.
Well, Lisa's actually sitting to the far left of the screen on the corner of the court, but not allowed to sit on the official bench.
Harvey Williams, more risky.
Oh, and Wangenaar takes both Sanders and the ball.
Yvonne Willering just screaming out support instructions.
Well, she was encouraging Wangenaar to keep going, see the ball and drive onto it.
Southby, Hodge.
Contact, goal defender, penalty pass where you are.
McMahon. Oh, won't go, and Menny and Wangenaar have the height on Southby and McMahon, so surely the rebounds will go the way of the Silver Ferns.
Oh, some push and shove in the circle. Van Dijk and Ellis going a round or two, and it was a big push-off.
And Ellis letting the umpire know what she thought. So Irene van Dijk's got a...
You see a great shot there. Ellis front position. Van Dijk gives her a bit and then takes off. It certainly wasn't a clean hold.
Contact, keep up, penalty
Contact
pass.
against Wangenaar. She
Goal attack, move back, please.
smiles
Move back,
at the decision. It's 5-2 Silver Ferns. They're starting well.
Better shot from McMahon, 2 from 3.
This is going to be a tough match for the umpires to control, I think, the way it started. Nicol, George, through to Colling, and Van Dijk's open. Colling just looked to Harper, but opted for Van Dijk.
As we said earlier, Steve, Van Dijk so formidable, but shut down Colling and you shut down access to Van Dijk.
And contact against Menny, and she's just given a little bit of a talking to. Butter wouldn't melt. And this Menny, who is only 26, and this is her 72nd international. Leslie Nicol, 73. Really, the story of the Caps, New Zealand, they're starting 7, 355 internationals to Australia's 245. A weight of experience now with the Silver Ferns, after for years it seemed to be Australia had the more experienced side. Harvey!
Beautiful work, and so quick to get rid of the ball before a landed foot had come through. She's had a wonderful start, the Australian skipper.
This is where it's been difficult for the Australians, getting their goalers to receive the ball in a good position. Southby.
Obstruction.
Let's see, assistant coach Lisa Behag down off to one end. So just she's able to chat to Jill McIntosh if she sees something different. Just lend her support and advice.
Good pressure across the face of the circle from New Zealand's defence, but Australia playing the angles and their patience is good.
Southby, long-range attempt is good, and she's 3 from 3.
And a great spring in her step. She's happy to put them through in this calibre of company.
Irene van Dijk, 5 from 6, Colling.
Australia overplaying their work on Van Dijk, leaves Colling exposed. She will run the baseline. She will shoot when she's uncontested. All the focus there on Van Dijk. Smart work from Colling. Good vision from the New Zealand feeders.
McMahon in the corner. Sanders. Oh, Hodge and Southby combining well. Southby finds herself in her favourite position. She likes was to take the series. They've got to win by more than 15.
Oh, Ellis saw it, but was too late to get in there. She read it well. The speed of the ball beat her, though. Oh.
And unfortunately, Squire was offside there after the Kiwis had misplayed the penalty. George finds Van Dijk. Liz Ellis has just got to regain her composure, I think. She's just unhappy with the way the first 10 minutes have evolved.
Ellis out of play. The ball goes quickly from Harper, catches Van Dijk unaware, and Squire gets caught in the contest and offside.
George and Sanders come together. George up smiling. Down goes McMahon. And Bernice Menny is being chatted again by Justine Bourne.
Well, neither defence line getting much relief from the umpires from their countries. Justine Bourne from New Zealand and Kate Wright from Australia, causing all sorts of problems for their respective defenders.
Much better opening from Australia, who are down by 3 at quarter time in the first test.
Wonderful ball. Harper relishing the challenge, fires it into Van Dijk.
Squire and Hodge, a lateral pass that can bring them undone.
I think that was footwork on Van Dijk, Steve, but it was so quick it caught us unawares.
I was just looking at the stats monitor when that attempt went through, and to see that the penalty count is heavily against New Zealand.
Wonderful composure from Southby. 6 straight from the Australian goal shooter. McMahon with just the 1 miss. Australia have certainly answered any criticism early in this match with regard to their shooting stats.
Just like the look of this mid-court with Sanders and Hodge combining so well as they do week after week for the Thunderbirds. And Australia out by 2. It's my own sort of very humble opinion, let me say, that Sanders is a better centre than she is a wing attack.
I think you're right. I agree with you. And as good as Richardson is, the understanding between Hodge and Sanders and their speed really injects something special into the forward line.
Van Dijk shooting slightly off balance. It doesn't worry her as she's on 90%. Colling hasn't missed. Harvey Williams to go to Squire. But,
goes against McMahon, that call. She'll stand out. What a wonderful start from both countries. And we had to expect it. You think Australia only 3 down at the first quarter last match, only 4 at half-time, and we did change our back line at the same time as New Zealand made changes. So hard to tell if we'd have been able to stay in the race had we stayed with the same line.
Well, New Zealand running back at Australia can retake the lead here. Van Dijk on 91%, Colling 100.
Strong take. Strong take by Van Dijk. Now the warning goes out against the Australian defenders to settle their challenges.
Interestingly, it was the New Zealand umpire warning Bernice Menny and the Australian warning Liz Ellis. So utterly unbiased, I'm sure. So evidence would certainly suggest that. Hodge needs to get rid of it.
Southby getting a little caught in some of those plays on the edge of the circle and unable to free herself, so they get clean access to the post. 2
held balls, and New Zealand with a chance to take a 2-goal lead. Not with that kind of ball. They'll rule over a third in the end. Might as well let it go.
Tell you what, the pace is on early in this game.
Hodge, the ball was in the air for so long, you expected a New Zealand hand to fly from somewhere. Southby hasn't had a shot for a while.
Penalty pass. Good.
And 13 all. And the Australians have only missed 1. Southby on perfect stats. Colling. And they've coughed another one up. Oh, that was nearly a short pass.
Yeah, but smart work. Sanders just dropping back a little to show there was room between the release from one player's hands to the others.
That's one way to break a cluttered centre third.
Superb netball from Australia. They have answered their critics in this first quarter, and we've got a match on our hands. This is netball at its best. Forget the era.
Sanders, McMahon, too quick for many.
Well, through the obstruction call, Sherelle McMahon, 7 from 8.
McMahon is too willing on Leslie Nichol, who's got to retreat a couple of steps to take the pass. Colling. Good return ball from Timapara George. And Colling is 3 from 3. Sanders. Holding against Leslie Nichol. And that's just a second penalty. 5 against many. Hodge. Oh, and Timapara George was going to be offside if it wasn't a contact. McMahon.
Contact when she went. Goal attack, move back. Thank you.
So, ruling with a strict whistle, I think we can say. Justine Bourne and Kate Wright. Australia by a couple. Last minute, first quarter. A much better quarter to open proceedings from Australia this time. And against Van Dyke, using a backside to create some space. Push off her opponent, Squire. McMahon. And they'd like another one here. Sanders. Southby, they can work it in quickly. Which they can't. The defence makes sure of that. They're working it around well.
Outside where you are, good. Holding centre at the top.
They're just running out of time here. The timekeeper's going to be up in a moment. Oh, and she was out. Good pressure from the New Zealand defence to deny Australia that last goal of the first quarter. Timekeeper's up now. And Harvey crashes into Timapara George. And that's all there'll be. Oh, what a first quarter that was. One of the great things about this match, Anne, is we've still got 3 more quarters to come. If they're like the first,
I hope we're up to it.
We'll have had a memorable match, and Southby loses the handle. She only had one hand on it. Not the start Australia wanted, although Manny and George nearly had a moment of confusion.
Yeah, there was a little word said between them, so they knew to pull out as Harper hits the floor. And
yes, you.
Yes, you. Liz Ellis can't believe it. She can do no wrong in New South Wales, Liz Ellis. Let's have a look at this one.
Good release, and Harper on the ball. Ellis coming through, but takes the body. Harper, of course, unsighted as to Ellis's challenge then. So a little bit too much body.
New Zealand ball. Harper winning the appeal, if you like.
Oh, they were up high, the Australian pair, and frustrated by the call.
Move up, keeper.
She is prepared to play a physical game today, Irene Van Dyke, but she's being asked to, I think, by Harvey Williams and Ellis.
I don't think we've seen Van Dyke shoot one yet where she's been balanced. It's all been off balance, one leg leaning out of it, getting away from the defence.
Beautiful skills from George.
The crowd reacting, a lot of people unaware that you can bounce the ball once in netball to gain possession.
Ellis, Sanders, and see how well this Silver Ferns defence works.
Oh, Southby drops her head, nearly lost it then in trying to be quick to the ball. She was beautiful in the pickup.
It was a risky ball.
And McMahon's head ends up on the chopping block. Too much on it for Southby. McMahon's speed to it, and then Manny a little late takes the head.
Oh, McMahon over to Southby. That was a wise option, as many attempts to defend from behind. And Bernice Manny, 9 penalties. Most on court. Liz Ellis has 8. Colling. Back to Nichol. Harper swiftly onto Colling. And holding against Ellis. She's going to give nothing away today. I think she, like some of the other Australian players, felt a little humiliated. If and certainly embarrassed by what happened in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think they were embarrassed. As I said before, it's hard to know whether we allowed New Zealand to open up by the positional changes we made, but the girls certainly regretted the margin.
Harper, is she quick?
Late again, I think you'll find from Ellis. As much as she's trying hard, she's just late on the challenge. I don't know whether the umpire chatted her then or not. It was a little bit said.
And I think the floor needs to be wiped after Liz Ellis visited it. Colling. And Harvey Williams, gee, physical contest with Van Dyke there, just to hold position. Squire. Harvey Williams, looks to Sanders.
Just watch Williams giving away precious centimetres. He's up early, over the shoulder of Van Dyke, but clean according to Bourne, and beautiful speed. Quite know how she did that.
Legally, apparently.
It did look like she was through the body.
Hodge, onto McMahon, and Vanganar just for 1 second was asleep. George.
Here's the ball to McMahon, who settles nicely to take Australia to 3. Van Dyke brings it back to 2 at the other end.
Van Dyke, quite seen that look from her for a while. This is a kind of a what's going on. McMahon, Hodge, Southby. It's close work they're having to execute. Obstruction against Vanganar. She's out of play. Southby. Good screen set up by McMahon. 3 the lead. The Aussies need a couple of turnovers a quarter at least to have any chance of a 15-goal margin, and Alice finally wins one. The crowd likes it.
She has never worked as hard as she is in this match. She is throwing herself into it. She just got the only break they've given her.
Squire, the option. Sanders.
Oh, under pressure. Probably wasn't the ball to put. McMahon, we know, will take it on.
Oh, boy, there was a clash of bodies. McMahon, the sandwich.
Well, you've got to applaud her for the composure to shoot, as she really takes a heavy fall from many. But to shoot after that physical contest, have a look again as she hits the deck with many again over the top.
Bernice accidentally trod on her on her way to the floor. Southby again, this for a 5-goal lead.
Oh, Australia in redemption mode.
11 penalties against Bernice Meni.
Breaking, wing defender, free pass.
And 11 against Ellis. Colling. Remaining calm.
Beautiful work from Temapara George, who's having a fine game for New Zealand. Loughagan on the bench, yelling her support, is one who may well enter the game at half-time. It worked to great effect for New Zealand in the first clash.
Sanders, Southby. Just occasionally the Australians ignoring the first option offered, and sometimes there isn't a second one. Bodies running into each other. And that'll be against Vanganar throwing.
Really? Can't believe it. Some of the clashes have gone unnoticed. Others have really attracted the attention of the umpire to the point of a warning. That seemed to have some body in it, but Australia score nonetheless.
I think there have been so many illegal contacts that the umpires, I can blow the whistle every 3 seconds, or, we can let some play happen.
Well, they've certainly been able to keep up the intensity, and that's a soft offload to Colling. We probably should remind our viewers that with New Zealand winning the first match by 15, to win the series, Australia need to win this by 16, and by heck, they're going for it.
Sanders. McMahon and Sanders. Placed in well for Southby.
Oh, smart work. Stepping call against McMahon. Hard to believe when she was stationary on the take.
She says she didn't. Good work from Harper to keep it alive. Colling. Obstruction against Sanders, it's only her second penalty. Harper. Contact against the Australian captain. Harvey Williams gets slowly to the feet. The penalty hurts as much as the fall, and Van Dijk will get this.
Okay, let's have a look as Southby threads it through to McMahon. Quick hands. It goes through. Oh, I thought she had 2 feet on the ground when she took the ball and steadied with the right.
Squire. Sanders. Hodge. McMahon. Australia leading by 5. Half-time, they'd probably like to be 6 or 7 up. Contact against many.
Contact keeper, pass or shot.
And 28-22. Australia's centre pass. And a missed goal turnovers, 4 against New Zealand. The Australians have been able to punish those.
They're causing on Colling for not releasing the landing space to Catherine Harvey. I can grant you that she didn't have much time to release the spot.
I think that's what Belinda Colling thought.
On the ball,
Contact on the ball. Whanganā. McMahon gets set. And 29-22. What a turnaround. Just reminding you, at half-time in the test in Melbourne, it was 27-23 to New Zealand. 3:20 out from half-time in Sydney. And Van Dijk looks less than pleased. And she should be satisfied with her stats, 18 from 21.
Well, Jill McIntosh's choice of starting 7 are rewarding their coach for the chance to start for Australia. Positional changes working beautifully for the Australian coach.
It opened up for McMahon thanks to the run from Southby. And Jill McIntosh, she ought to be well satisfied with the real endeavour being shown here.
Contact, penalty pass.
Contact against Squire. I think Justine Bourne had a little option, but to assume Squire had done something wrong. So I think the hand was too quick for everybody. Von Willering had a few problems to ponder. Probably a stopwatch in her hand, is it any? Or a counter?
I don't know, but she's not happy. She's yelling instructions furiously from the bench. Oh, and it's Australia.
Well, that ball hung on the rim for so long that the defenders mistimed their jump. Sanders, the Australians need to finish strongly here. Got to get at least a goal in the last 45 seconds. Oh, Southby, Harvey.
Fine captain's game from Kath Harvey, who really is not only putting the workload in defensively, but her support play in attack is phenomenal.
Now McMahon off to Southby. Obstruction Whanganā. Southby, no problem. Now 20 seconds to defend. Try and deny the Silver Ferns another one.
Contact, goalkeeper, penalty
Contact
pass.
Ellis. And Van Dijk may not shoot from there. Oh, why not?
You had to say it, didn't you?
Well, she doesn't often, because she doesn't often have to.
I think her first shot of the match actually was long range, which surprised me that they didn't want the comfort zone of the close shot. But from that point, she's been under.
It's half-time at the stadium. As we begin the third quarter, Australia is not quite halfway to the margin that they need to take the series from New Zealand, which was a long odds proposition at the start of this match. New Zealand having beaten Australia by 15, Australia needs to win by 16. And Lochhagen comes on at goal attack for Belinda Colling. No surprise there. That's what happened in the first test, and it served them very well. She shot 9 from 10. And Belinda Colling in the first half of action.
5 from 6 at 83%, so not shabby at all. But I think they want more volume, and they're looking for access to Lochhagen as much as anything. It was a change we expected, irrespective of New Zealand being on the wrong end of the scoreline.
Holding, goal defender, penalty pass. Contact, keeper, penalty pass.
Contact against Whanganā as Southby was trying to establish a position near the post. And the penalty count 41-28. New Zealand on the wrong side of it. Many, Harper, Nicol, Harper, Lochhagen.
Confident shot from Lochhagen, and it drops.
Bernice Manny has some strapping support for that troublesome left knee. Oh, great take, McMahon, and the pass was not too shabby either.
She applauds the vision, the Australian feed. She dropped well away, out of sight. Manny, of course, was on the other side of the court, returning from being strapped.
Ellis. Squire the support. Oh, it's risky over Van Dyke. So tall. Harvey Williams. So the lead is 8 now. They have added a couple, but they need another conversion here after that turnover from New Zealand. Sanders, Southby, good movement outside the circle from her. Hodge, they're looking sharp, Anne.
Yeah, and they're denying New Zealand. Manny having a go. She knew where it was going. She just couldn't get there. So Australia really causing problems for the New Zealand defence. Australia is in magnificent form.
Sanders has got to keep it going.
Contact centre, penalty pass.
Contact against Temapara George. Hodge on the move. McMahon. Hands everywhere.
21 for McMahon, 21 from 23. You don't see stats like this against New Zealand.
10 goals the lead and another turnover. Nicol apologises to Temapara George, but it's unravelling for the Silver Ferns. Oh, that's got too much on it, surely.
Keep it alive. Oh, so close. It's off the baseline.
Yeah, Southby was just out as she endeavoured to keep it in one-handed.
But it's contact.
Lohagan. McMahon down in back play, up again. Keep an eye on her. Temapara George.
Once again, the defensive effort from Australia, just denying New Zealand space. It's a tremendous effort.
Van Dyke. Oh, that wasn't a good call in the end. Southby did well.
I think she may have been just across the tape, but almost impossible to tell. Either that or just
she got rid of the ball before, I'm sure. Footwork was okay. What another look.
Okay, let's argue it out again. Oh, could be out of the hands before she landed. Let's have a look at... Oh, yeah, I think we might have been clean.
Lohagan, Manny, sympathy with the umpire. Those things happen so quickly. You've got to have an eye to the ball, the player, the foot. And New Zealand have got that lead back under.
Beautiful work, Australia. Inside position, Harvey. Possession. In fact, Lohagan's been put out of play for contact on it.
Squire. New Zealand stepping up the defensive effort in the centre third.
Pushing off call goes against Nicol. She doesn't like it. Former New Zealand captain. Now they'll both be out.
Sanders. McMahon's free.
Okay, 6 to go. 10-goal lead for Australia. We're hunting 16. Help them.
Lohagan. Harper. Oh, Liz Ellis should have let it go.
Well, she thought the body behind her was a New Zealand body, so she went all out.
And for the first time in the match, I think, she manages a smile, and that was for a captain, Kath Harvey. Just a moment of misunderstanding, and New Zealand might punish them here. No, they won't. Liz Ellis makes up for it. Harvey Williams, drives an ambitious...
punishing New Zealand. That is the play of the match.
McMahon finishes it off. Exquisite netball, and Ellis at one end applauds the work at the other, and she started it all.
Oh, you can talk. I'm going to stand up and keep clapping. Go Australia. Beautiful drive through the midcourt. Opens the arm up. But look at the speed of McMahon on the final take. Launches herself to get inside close position.
And the lead is 11. Hunting for 12.
Contact on the tag, penalty pass.
Contact against Lohagan. They play on too quickly. McMahon, ambitious. And Manny...
shot down again by McMahon. This is one passionate lineup.
Australia shooting at 89%.
Missed shot. It's taken by many, but look at McMahon still following through, shuts it down.
Australia playing at a level of intensity I don't think I've seen before. George. Back to Nicol. George looking for Van Dyke and finds her.
A better play from Van Dyke. Instead of mixing it with the body, she put a roll on, came off Ellis. .650 left in the third quarter. 10 the lead for Australia.
And they're looking for a margin of 15 or better. Just I might warn you of one possible scenario. If Australia wins by 15 and both teams have won the same number of quarters, and then the series will be adjudged a tie.
Yeah, South Africa not coming into the formula at all. Should Australia win this match, it'll only go on the results between Australia and New Zealand. They need to win by 16, or at the least, to continue winning each quarter in this game.
It's a throw into Lofhagen. She thought she was getting the shot or the pass.
Contact from defence outside.
Contact against Squire outside. George.
Squire's been so tidy. That's just her third penalty of the match.
Contact, goal defence, pass and shot.
Shani Welthagen, the goal shooter for the Proteas. South Africa not winning a match on this tour, but learning plenty. And finally, well, it was hard work, but they've got that margin back to 9. Australia's centre pass must convert here. They've not had a lot of the action down in this third for a little while. McMahon, they need this. Contact against Vangana. Bernice Meni seems to be moving okay. That's good news for the Silver Ferns. Harper, George. And keeping it away from Australian hands by using the bounce pass. Van Dijk.
Oh, Lofhagen literally fending off the Australian defence, and Van Dijk laughing at the process.
Harvey's not laughing.
No, Lofhagen fending off Harvey Williams from the contest. Let's have another look under the post. A lot of attention over the body from Harvey Williams. Lofhagen wants to shake it off.
Southby
goes against Hodge. Contact call for a push against Alex Hodge. Denies Australia the chance at goal. 9 the difference. New Zealand with a little bit of a comeback happening.
Oh, Sanders not quite. George onto Harper.
The holders with Van Dijk at the base.
The Australian defenders willing to do whatever it takes, it seems.
Yeah, they've been sent out with a different purpose. They're prepared to put the bodies into the work in this one.
Australia led by 6 at half-time.
Well, that goes against Lofhagen for use of the knee. She will have us believe she was simply set up on a hold. There's Lofhagen's hold, but she did put... I thought it was more the shoulder.
Well, the shirt front, I think they call it in another game. Crowd's getting value for money.
Willing.
Crowd getting value for money here. I don't know how much netball we're going to see in the last quarter. Obstruction against Vangana. Lead back to 9 for Australia and a chance for 10. They've got the centre pass. Crowd can't believe what they're seeing here on a couple of levels. The turnaround in the score and the style of netball that's being played.
New Zealand now on the back foot defensively. They're sagged back instead of attacking the ball as we saw early in the match. I think the knee is bothering Meni. I think she's a little more operating to fill space than to run out onto it.
Van Dijk.
That's a good shot under pressure.
Settler for the Ferns and McMahon.
McMahon's having a blinder, and Hodge as well. Hodge so incisive at wing attack, and I agree with you. The move of Sanders to centre where she's more familiar doing the trick for Australia.
Van Dijk on 83% with that 25 from 30. Quickly taken centre pass. The Aussies weren't quite ready for it, and it was well done.
Pushing off against Van Dijk denies them the opportunity once again.
Just wonder whether the strapping on Liz Ellis's head in any way obstructs her peripheral vision.
Lofhagen with 8 penalties against her since entering the game, which is a high toll given she came on at half-time. I'd have to say, too, she's a little willing to argue the calls and the contest rather than just getting on with it.
A lead of 11 and the centre pass for Australia, and 1 minute 20 to go in the quarter. Really important to convert here for their chances in the series.
New Zealand taking a whipping with the whistle. Nicol out again. It's her 10th of the match.
Oh, McMahon first to it. Hodge just holds it up. Support from McMahon in the corner. Now I've got to get reset. Oh, that asked a lot. And it'll be Australia's ball. Time might be on their side here if they can be last to score in this quarter. Southfield shoot from there, one would think. And it's good. 12 the lead, but New Zealand 40 seconds, that's plenty of time. Silver Ferns go straight to Irene van Dijk. Swings on that right foot, shoots well. Now in turn, they took that so quickly, there's time for Australia to get another. Harvey Williams. Squires available. Hodge. Sanders. And who's that off? Oh, McMahon just ducked out of the way of it. Didn't see it coming, I suppose, in time. And 10 seconds. Harvey Williams. Hodge. Got to get it in there quickly. Timekeeper's up.
It'll be a penalty pass or shot, an important one for Sherelle McMahon.
Got it too. That's all there'll be in this quarter. Good finish for it for Australia. And the series absolutely on the line here. It's Australia by 12. Remember, they need to win by 16 to take the series. 15, and it'll be a tied series. Because if Australia wins by 15, it means they will have won this last quarter. That'll make it 4 quarters each. Boy, couldn't be tighter.
It's a lot of explaining, isn't it?
Yeah. The rules of the competition, the tri-series, have drawn a little bit of criticism. Oh, Squire, Australia is struggling here in the opening moments.
Yeah, but Sanders and Hodge are really working the outside spaces as hard as they can. New Zealand come up with it now. Well, you can rest assured New Zealand will put the pressure on, particularly early in this match. Sorry, in this quarter. It's desperation time for them.
And they keep possession. Many nickel. It was Temapara George who found her way to the floor. And for New Zealand, one change. Lily Davu on at goalkeeper for Linda Vangenaar. Davu, who's played 12 tests for Fiji, and this is her 6th for New Zealand. In the same boat, really, as Irene van Dijk. Next year come the Commonwealth Games. I'll test that residency rule. See whether they're eligible. I personally hope they are. Sanders, Squire, Harvey Williams, McMahon. There's been no score yet in the last quarter. It's a very even performance across the match from Australia. 16 goals per quarter. And what they've done to New Zealand is further restrict them each quarter. 14, 12 and 10 has been the return for New Zealand. The Aussies get the first of the last. So it's gone this way. Australia the first quarter by 2. Now in the second quarter, 16-12 to set up a 32-26 halftime lead. Built again in the third. And just turned it over.
That's good, right there.
49-36.
Well, Harvey putting Temapara George off the take. But it's an offside call. Will give the free pass to New Zealand just inside the circle.
Yeah, it was against Rebecca Sanders.
Contact outside, stay out of the circle.
Well, New Zealand, who were so commanding in the first encounter, a different team under a very physical contest by Australia.
All the Silver Ferns have to do in this last quarter is go goal for goal, and they still end up winning this series, even though they lose this match.
Obstruction centre, penalty pass.
Hard to believe they can be on court, New Zealand, playing for a series concept. It's more the battle for the game, isn't it? It's hard to separate yourself from the two issues.
Loughagen. Might be a few players on court. Personal duels make it tough for them to shake hands at the end of this match. What a dream feed for Irene van Dijk.
Yeah, Adine Harper. Great vision to the post.
Squire stops to receive the centre pass. McMahon.
Loughagen having a lot of talk happening with the umpires. I think they're quite capable to make their own decisions. Great ball, wiped it to Southby. A flat one, but really New Zealand just no answer for the speed of the delivery.
Australia needs a couple of rewarded turnovers in this last quarter. George. Harper. Been an impressive player in the series, Dean Harper. Wing attack. And only playing at 20th international and just 22 years of age. Van Dijk. And Irene on 29 from 34. No smiles exchanged there, as was more usually seen in the past between Ellis and Van Dijk. Southby. What a confidence lift for Eloise Southby to play this well in this match after her previous experience against New Zealand. Southby. Many out of play. Davu beaten by the pass. McMahon. George to Harper. 10.5 minutes left.
No easy access to the New Zealand shooters. Australia working so hard through Squire and Sanders to hold up the feeders.
Penalty pass.
Van Dijk. And they're looking a little steadier in the last quarter, New Zealand. I don't know how much has been taken out of the Australian gas tank, if you like. The first 3 quarters, it was so physical. Sanders open. Southby swings it. Davu right on her and acknowledges the penalty against her. Southby.
It'll be retaken. Davu too quick off the mark. Oh no, a correction. It's now against Many.
Harper. Many. The Australian defensive effort needs to lift if they're to squeeze another turnover. Harper.
Harper and George working tirelessly outside the circle, trying to open the spaces for their shooters. It's so tough for them, though. It comes via a penalty with Ellis out of play. Van Dijk converts her 31st of the match. She's at 86%.
Harper with just 2 penalties against her. She's had a clean, good game. Southby. Oh, that was too much on it. And it's rare for McMahon to drop one.
New Zealand with the numbers. Squire was caught down the other end of the court, and they'll make them pay.
Jill McIntosh, you know what that little frown means. And you're only leading by 10, and you need it to be 15, and there's 8:50 to go. It's going to be tough. Oh, well, Harvey was nearly there. Tough call against her own.
Yeah, I thought it was good support play by Lofhagen. I thought she was pretty strong to it then. Oh, it goes against Van Dijk. A good turnover for Australia, a timely one.
Harvey Williams, look at this packed centre third.
Obstruction shooter.
The obstruction's the first issue. Had she been a good distance, Harvey would have been pulled for playing into the arms.
Well, Australia has been working on how to play this packed defence that is the style of the Silver Ferns, and it's been so successful for them over the years. And a week ago, Yvonne Willering shouting instructions, encouragement on the side there, supported by Cheryl Wells, her manager. Hodge, oh, great move by McMahon, but Hodge wasn't prepared to risk the pass.
No, I'm kind of with Hodge on that one. It wasn't absolutely open. I thought it was a bit of a dangerous play, given where New Zealand was hovering.
And Hodge was free, fingertip take from her.
Hold time, that's deliberate wing defence. Bring it inside, Peg.
And now it's inside the circle, a deliberate infringement according to Nicol.
Wing defence. I've advanced the penalty. Wing defence is out of play. Wait for time. Thanks, players.
Well, Kate Wright is just asking for this to be taken as she wants it, which is fair enough. 12-goal lead restored. New Zealand with the centre pass. Reminding you again, 15.
Oh, Sanders! Not much of her, but wonderful timing under the ball, forces the toss.
Well,
and Adelaide be on their feet, wouldn't they?
David and Goliath here, Sanders and Lofhagen. Lofhagen at 184 centimetres with the quick hands. Harper.
Contact goal defender round turn.
Oh, that one's against Harvey. That a fairly soft penalty. I didn't see much going on then in comparison to what we've witnessed all match.
I think you heard a squeal of disappointment. Southby. Oh, how did that find the target? McMahon can't believe it either. Southby somehow threaded it to a Melbourne Phoenix teammate.
12 the difference, 6 minutes 36 on the clock. I know in Sydney there's quite a few families with divided loyalties between New Zealand and Australia. My sympathies go out to those households. One, a teacher from my daughter's school must be having a wonderful time watching this.
Lofhagen, safe. And she's 7 from 9.
Oh, snuffed by Lofhagen, who sat well over the ball, used her height.
Van Dijk. Oh, obstruction against Ellis.
Yeah, quick release from Van Dijk, suckered that in from Ellis, who was really keen to get up and contest it.
Gee, they got a quick run on with the centre pass, New Zealand. Australia's not found an answer to that. George.
Van Dijk held out on the circle edge by Ellis, but comes through in the end.
Harvey Williams had a dip outside the circle, pulled out of what would have been a late challenge. So looking for Southby and finding her. McMahon off the hands of Nicol.
Well, Southby doing well to get hands to that at all. It was an ambitious ball. And both teams prepared to play the fast access to the circle with the high ball to their shooters.
And Irene Van Dijk, 88%, 36 from 41. Still had a whale of a game despite the best efforts of Ellis and Harvey Williams. Hodge.
Little pocket created by both shooters on hold.
Southby saying, come on, let's make this effort. Another turnover. Oh, 2 back on Van Dijk, and the throw-in is Australia's.
Yeah, the feed wasn't good. It wasn't to the space. Australia had shut it down.
Ellis now, question being asked on the transverse line.
Oh, look at the black uniforms in the mid-court.
Contact against Nicol. How many is she up to? 14. 78 penalties to 55.
Tamapara George, quick to offer assistance to Sanders.
Well, they're one of the few pairs out there still talking to each other.
George has a lovely disposition and has shown it all through the match. A willing competitor, but gracious. The drive to the corner. Good quick work from George to get to the ball. They really fall off from what perhaps should have been a toss.
Squire, Harvey Williams, lead 11. Southby, one fake. Oh, McMahon strongly.
How strong are their hands, though? Given the contest, Southby, McMahon, their hands have been beautiful under the pressure.
Australia is desperate for another turnover. New Zealand equally keen not to offer it. Sanders.
Oh, it's Australia. It's gone Australia's way. 12 they lead, just under 3 on the clock. Fast break down court.
McMahon. Got to be steady. Yes.
Here we go. And an Australian centre. Here we go.
But they do need another turnover, even if they goal here.
They need to be steady too.
Hodge.
Instruction call will bring it back.
We're quite happy to be proved wrong on my tip. Southby.
Okay, 2 minutes to go.
It's like it's a 1-goal game, folks. Remember, 15 is the margin Australia's looking for to tie it up. 16 to win the series. George, Lofhagen. Too many times New Zealand has been beaten by 1 goal by Australia.
And it's back to 1 or 2 again.
55-40, New Zealand won the first test. Oh, Davu
reads it well. It was put up high and a little slower than the earlier balls.
Just took too big a risk there, and Van Dijk steadies. That ought to be it. 12, the lead is back to. And they've got the centre pass. Time now favouring New Zealand.
Well, I can't believe we've come back to arguing about the margin. And I apologise for my passion in the remaining minute 20.
George.
And when New Zealand's slowing it down, you can see a little, oh, good work from Harper, who
great hands
from
under pressure. That's a super goal for the Silver Ferns. The format was criticised by our New Zealand colleagues when Davu was realised that the for and against South Africa wasn't going to matter in the final wash-up. But it has made for an exciting last game here.
And if there's any doubt that New Zealand want to protect their hold on this series, the reaction from the bench when Davu denied Australia that ball says it all. Hold them out. That's what they want. Hold the Aussies out.
Well, it has to come back, but time now against the Aussies. Harvey Williams to Sanders. Hodge available. What a match she's had at wing attack. Oh, Squire just...
Replay call against Squire, so a couple of disappointing turnovers have robbed them of the margin they'd like, but you've got to say all 7 on court absolutely beautiful in this contest.
Harper. Van Dijk. And they've made a good run at it in the last 2 minutes, New Zealand. They really steadied. I think that'll give them tremendous heart when so often they've lost tight games to Australia. Well, it's Australia by 10. It's the series to New Zealand, 62-52 in Sydney for